So my name is Carolyn Crotty, and I'm an art therapist and an artist, and the founder of World Tree Arts, which is a community arts organization in Burlington. I wanted to create an organization that would bring people together in a more authentic, face-to-face way, and saw art as a tool to do that. I think it can be really non-threatening to just have materials out and have no pressure of needing to be good at what you do or like be an artist, but just be playful, I guess. There's research and studies in the field of art therapy that show that when a person's drawing or painting or engaging in a creative expression beyond words, that it actually engages different parts of the brain. Yeah, so art was always part of my way of being, I guess is one way to put it. My mom always tells a story about how when I was a baby, a little one, that even before I could talk or walk or crawl, I was drawing. And so I think that that's really telling of how I engage in the world, that I see things in pictures and I just think in images, and I think that really at core is what anchors me to an identity as an artist. So the types of art that I personally like to do really varies depending on a lot of different factors. Right now I've been really into mixed media and collage and using torn paper, scraps of fabric, along with acrylic paint. I'm also an avid journaler. I've been keeping journals since college, so for about 10 years now. And journals are great because I feel like because the pages are attached to a book, they don't ever have to be like framed or hung up somewhere, and so they don't have to be good per se. So again, I think it helps free up the creativity and not being tied to this expectation of a particular outcome. I come from a pretty practical family, or like industrious, and like, you know, you do practical work, and so I feel grateful that I have that background and upbringing, but also was encouraged to not let go of the skills that I had as an artist, but also that passion and interest that I have in it, to be able to explore that. And I think maybe going into art therapy was the practical thread of like, okay, how can I apply this in a way that's like a career? It was a perfect fit, just in terms of blending my love for art and creativity, but also people's stories. There's no right or wrong, and it doesn't have to look like anything or look good. It just is an expression of where you're at right here, right now. And being able to honor them by listening, but also help people in terms of living the lives that they want to live. I'd like to invite you to make a painting using colors, shapes, lines as symbols of what that experience looks like. Like what do you hope for on the horizon? And how art could be a tool for that. I was hooked.
Being done with what I'm doing and just being fed up with where I am.
Yeah.
And then I guess it gets a little lighter as I think about my future.
So coming from Boston originally, I really saw a common thread of people who found their way into counseling or needing more, I guess, intense mental health treatment, all seemed to lack a sense of belonging and community and connection. I noticed too, it seemed like you started with that here and now where you're at, and then jumped over to this scary part. I wanted to create an organization that would bring people together in a more authentic, face-to-face way.
Say that red to me has always been kind of angry and like angsty.
Yeah.
And where
we tend to communicate with words from our frontal lobe, which is like our reasoning center. People who have mental health issues, extreme mental health issues, tend to have some disruption in that reasoning center. And since art can access both the reasoning center but also this like emotional animalistic brain and like these other regions, spatial regions, all of those places, it can become a really corrective tool. So if you ask a person to maybe draw about what they're feeling as opposed to talk about it, they gain a sense of personal understanding of their emotions that they might not have gotten from just talking about it. So that black area, that unknown, being kind of challenging too because it's scary. If you were to zoom in, as an art therapist, there's a belief that different materials and art processes can evoke different skills and emotional experiences. I've noticed that in my own personal art practice too, that if I'm maybe feeling a little bit more out of control in my life, whether I've just got a lot of things going on, that I will really crave doing things in just black and white, doing pen and ink or pencil drawings. It feels like a sense of control, whereas maybe at other phases in my life where things feel like more spacious, I'll be more apt to maybe use watercolor, which are just a more flowy art process, and there's not a lot of control in there. And so it's interesting to notice how, like, what materials I'm drawn to any given day or week or month or part of the year, and then to see the parallel of that in work with art therapy clients and people who are also doing groups or workshops with me through World Tree Arts, is kind of thinking about what materials make the most sense for where people are at.
You're like, I'm making you want to come back to your butterfly. That's great. I was literally going to go make them, and then I have to put that on a dude. Yeah.
So I know I got a little mini introduction earlier, but my name is Carolyn, and I am an art therapist, and I run a community arts organization called World Tree Arts, and I get to do fun art projects with people.
I really, I'm very interested both as a therapist, as a counselor, as an artist, in that idea of place and belonging and where people get that. And
That a lot of people don't like each other, and that for reasons that maybe don't make sense, or
why does it happen? When does it not happen?
My name's Carolyn. I think what makes me awesome is my quirky sense of humor.
And I guess I use art personally, but also in creating group art experiences to explore those themes of place and home and belonging and community, because I just think it's interesting. It's like, I guess it's an innate human quality that we all come from tribes in a way. So I think it's important to our existence as humans. Found myself in a niche of working with teenagers and really having a focus of supporting kids and teens through those transition years between like early childhood into adulthood. They're really rich years for growth, and where there's growth, there's usually struggle. You can even reference nature for that and see, it takes a lot of work for a seed to grow into a flower, and it's not always easy or feel good. So I think of adolescence like that.
See, just in this group, in this little room that we have right here, all the different perspectives and ways of visioning the world into a place that you want to live in. Whether it's filled with glitter, or filled with color, or filled with tissue paper, or trees. There's so many different ways to look at it.
So I hope with World Tree Arts to kind of level the playing field more too, and being able to say like all the art matters, regardless of whether it's worthy of a museum wall or your refrigerator or the trash barrel. It still has value and matters, because it's the act of creation that is really what I'm most interested in, less about the product. In terms of a day in the life now, I see a handful of clients, private art therapy clients, doing home-based counseling. So World Tree Arts has a vision of being a mobile art studio, community-based art making, and so art therapy in that capacity is less about you have a problem, let's fix the problem, and we'll do it in this way in these number of steps for this amount of money, and let's bill your insurance and handle it in all that way, and more about let's make art together and create a healthy community, because when we're creating things together, we are feeling good about ourselves and feeling connected and creating change in our community and strengthening just the fabric of where we live.